Well, hello there. Sion Batson here from Sion Batson Tutoring, and in this video we will be comparing fractions using shapes. Very important concept for all of my third graders. So join me. Now this exercise is out of my third grade math workbook. You can master third grade math, next generation learning standards. Now this workbook, it covers all of the next generation learning standards as well as all of the Common Core learning standards for third grade. This workbook is filled with very simple and easy to follow notes, guided examples, step-by-step examples, and more than 600 practice problems and answers. Parents love this workbook, students love this workbook, and the teachers love this workbook because it's a great resource for extra practice at home, for homework help, and it is also the ultimate study guide to help your scholars get ready for the third grade state exam. So if you have a third grader, I would highly recommend that you grab them a copy. You can get your copy from Amazon. Now, to our exercise. When comparing fractions using shapes, we are going to use three signs to help us. Yeah? The first sign is the less than sign. Now, if you look carefully here, you'll see that the less than sign looks like an L. Yeah? So you can say L for less. We'll use the less than sign. We'll use the greater than sign. If you look carefully again here, you'll see that the greater than sign looks like the number 7. Yes? So L looks like the less than sign. 7 looks like the greater than sign. And we'll also use the equal sign. So these are the three signs that we will use to help us compare fractions. The less than sign, the greater than sign, and the equal sign. Now, I am going to teach you 4 very simple steps that you can use to help master this concept of comparing fractions using shapes. Here are the steps. Step 1, we will draw similar shapes for each fraction. Now this is very important. Similar shapes. The shapes that we will draw for each fraction, they must be the same size. Okay? Now that's the first step. Second step, we will cut each shape into equal parts. Now, the denominator of each fraction will tell us how many parts each shape should have. Step 3, we will shade each shape. And the numerator of each fraction will tell us how many parts we should shade. And once we are finished shading, we will compare the shaded pieces or compare the shaded parts. Yeah? That's it. 4 simple steps. So let's try one. Here we want to compare 1/2 and 3/4. Yeah? So step 1 is we will draw similar shapes for each fraction. So let's go. I'll put my 1/2 right here. Let's put it right here. Let's use red. I'll put my 1/2 right here. And I put my 3/4 right here. So my first step is to draw similar shapes for each fraction. They look about similar, yeah? So that's step 1. We'll draw similar shapes for each fraction. The next step is to cut each shape into equal parts. Now remember again, the denominator tells us how many equal parts the fraction should have, or how many equal parts the shape should have. Yeah? The denominator here is 2, so we'll cut this shape into 2 equal parts. That looks about equal. Good. The denominator here is 4, so this shape should have 4 equal parts. So let's cut our shape into 4 equal parts. How is that? Good? So far, so good? Great. Now, step 3, we will shade each shape. And remember now, the numerator tells us how many parts we should shade. The numerator in the first fraction is 1. So we have to shade just one part of this shape. Yes? And the numerator for the second fraction is 3. So we have to shade 3 parts of the second shape. How is that? So we are now down to step 4. We will compare the shaded pieces. So this is our first shaded piece here, and this is our second shaded piece here. Which is the bigger piece? 3/4 is the bigger piece. 1/2 is the smaller piece. Get the idea? So once we are done shading, we compare the shaded pieces. 3/4 is, this shaded piece here is bigger than this piece. Therefore, 3/4 is bigger than 1/2, or 1/2 is smaller or less than 3/4. Get the idea? That's it. So now we come here to compare. When we're comparing, we will always say the first fraction first. So we'll say 1/2 is smaller, or 1/2 is less than 3/4. Get the idea? Very good. Let's do another one. It's a very fun idea, but the most important step, the most important rule that you must remember is when you are drawing these shapes, your shapes must have the same size. Very important, okay? Don't forget that. Let us compare. Let us do 2/3 here. Yeah, let's do 2/3, and let's do, let's say 5/8. 2/3 and 5/8. Now, since I know this is a very simple concept and you guys have already grasped it, this is what I want you to do for me now. Pause the video. Yes, give it a try. Draw your shapes. Make sure your shapes have they have the same size. Shade. Compare the shaded pieces. Then compare the fractions. Give it a try and come back. Okay? You got this. I believe in you. Now, welcome back. Let's see if we get the same answer. I know you guys had fun, yeah? So the first fraction here is 2/3. So we're gonna put our first fraction here. And the second fraction is, let's use a different color, 5/8. Yeah? So what is the first step? The first step will be to draw similar shapes for both fractions, yeah? So we'll draw our first shape here for 2/3. Something like that right there. And then we'll draw a second shape here for our 5/8. Very important again. See how my shape, they have the same size. See here? See here? What we cannot do with this, we can't say, oh, well, I have one there, and I draw something like this. No, can't happen. Okay? Cannot happen. You'll get into trouble doing that because you end up with the wrong answer. The shapes must have the same size. Good. So we have our two shapes. Step 2 will be to do what? Cut each shape into equal parts. Yes? So this denominator here is 3. So we know we'll cut this shape into 3 parts. Remember, the denominator tells us how many equal parts the shape should have. So since the denominator is 3, we'll cut our shape into 3 equal parts. Just look about equal right here. Right here. Looks about equal to you? Yeah? Cool. Now, we'll come to our second fraction here. In the second fraction, the denominator is 8. And we have to, therefore, cut the shape into 8 equal parts. So let's see if we can get to with that. Let's see. Like that. Then some right here. here, and here. Pretty good? Yeah, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. All right, so first thing will be to do what? We'll first shade, what? 2 parts, yeah? Because remember the numerator now tells us how many parts we should shade. So for this fraction here, we will shade 2 parts, yeah? Because the numerator is 2. So shade 2 parts, that's it. And for the second fraction, the numerator is 5. So we will shade how many parts? I can hear you. Very good. 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh. Look at this right here. Now we are done shading, yeah? Now it's time to compare the shaded pieces or the shaded parts. This first fraction, stop somewhere. Let's draw a line to see here. See that? It's somewhere around there. Yeah? And the second piece is right here. So which is the smaller piece? If you can see that the smaller piece will be 5/8. See that? And the bigger piece is 2/3. Yes? So we can say that 2/3 is bigger than 5/8, or 2/3 is greater. And we put a greater than sign that looks like the 7 here. And again, remember when we are comparing, we start with the first fraction. So we say 2/3 is bigger, or 2/3 is greater than 5/8. Why? Because 2/3 is the bigger piece. Yeah, the bigger piece. 2/3 is bigger than the 5/8. Yes? Very simple, very fun. Yeah? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys find this video useful and helpful. Yes? Again, you can find this exercise in my 3rd grade math workbook. You can master 3rd grade math, next generation learning standards. You can master 3rd grade math, next generation learning standards. The workbook, it covers both the next generation learning standards and the Common Core learning standards. So if you have a 3rd grader, you can get a copy from Amazon. Until next time, enjoy your math homework and remember to practice. See you.